Hello everyone, welcome back to this lecture. I hope all are well. In this lecture, I am going to discuss about built-in decorators. Let's recap what I discussed in previous lecture. I discussed about the uh, functool wraps and I discussed about the class-based decorator. As we know, class-based decorator are generally used when we are building a complex decorator. It is generally used to maintain the state whenever you are calling a multiple original function. So that state management will not occur in a function-based decorator. That's why we must use the class-based decorator. When you use a class-based decorator, you have to using a init constructor and as well as you have to use the call method, that is a special method. This I discussed in previous lecture. If you have not watched the previous lecture, please watch it. That will help you to learn the class-based decorator. I explain as well as write a code to explain the what are the advantage of a class-based decorator over the function-based decorator. Let's start this lecture. This lecture is about built-in decorators. As we know, till now, we have built a made a decorator, very customizable decorator. But Python also provide a some built-in decorator that can be used to make our original function more smarter as well as more powerful. So I list down some or few decorators that are used mostly. First one is static method. That is a built-in decorator. It means Python already written a logic for a static method. You just have to use. And when you have to use, I will tell you. Static method, class method, and property method. There are many more Python provide a built-in decorator, but these three decorators are used frequently. So let's see one by one and when should use and what is the difference between them. So let's talk about the static method. A static method, it does not need access to instance and class. They does not access to the instance or class. It means it is just like a regular function that we write that belong inside the class for a organizational reason. It means you don't write the self and class. Self is used for instance, class of CLS for a class. So we don't write when we define the class. So we can access this method via only class. That is a static method. I will take an example when I write a code, then you will able to comprehend more. You can think like we are not using a self and CLS class to access the variable. So you think like it behave like a normal function, but this function is inside the class. Okay, I will take example to explaining this in a code. So let us move to the another method, that is class method. Class method receiving the class itself as a first argument. It means whenever you decorate the class method, decorating the original function by a class method, you must use the CLS as a first argument. We use the self, but we use the CLS. It is useful when you want to access or modify the class variables or attributes. It is generally used when you want to access or modify the class variables. And last one is a property. In property, it allow you to access the method like attributes. It means you define a method in a class, and if you decorate this original function by a property, so you will access this method as an attribute. You don't need to be enclose the parenthesis. You have to you access as an attribute. So let's move to the VS Code, and I will discuss via code, and you will understand more how static method work and why we are using it. So let's move to the VS Code. So here first I will make a new file that is built in Decorator. Okay, I will create build build deco.py, and okay. So here I am explaining the first static method. Static method. So here I mention class math operations. Here I will write static method, and define add x and y, and here I will return the x plus y. Okay. Before doing this, first what will I do? I will remove this, and I will write like that. I will show you if we don't use a static method, what happen, how it work. So first I will create math operation mo. Here I will math operations. Here I am printing the mo dot add. Here I will write 2, 3. Let's run. This is without the static method. Yeah, we are getting a 5. Okay, we are getting a 5. How it work? First we created the instance of the class that is math operation, and this self is used to have. If we no don't use, I think nothing will nothing will happen because we are not accessing. Okay, okay, math operations, add. I run again. So you will see it giving a error. Type error math operation dot add takes a 2% argument, but 3 are given. Okay, because it needs a no instance that is passed when you're calling, when we are calling. That's why we have to use self here. Then we have to use a self here. You create a self, it means ammo. This ammo pass here, then it run this add method. Okay, so you will see. Suppose I'm not using a self here. I don't want to use self. If you run this like that, so what happen? So it give a no error. So you want to use it like that. So you need to use the static method, and you have to close this, remove this, and you have to write math operations. So you will run. You don't need to create an instance of this class. You just have to pass. It become a regular function. So you will see you will get a 5. Okay. So we have not created instance of this class, and we have not passed a self. So that is a static method. So in a static method, you don't need to access, you don't need to write a instance and CLS that is used for accessing a attribute or a and method. it just like it become a function. It become a function, like we are accessing via dot. We write like that. We can create a multiple that, but we have to decorate this add function with this static method. It means you don't need to be write a self or CLS. You cannot access using that. So let's move to a another method, that is static method. Class method, static method I discussed. Class method, class person. Here let's I'm population. So in class method, what happen? We are it is generally used. We use the CLS to access the class attributes, and it is generally used for a modifying the class attributes. For example, here population is a class attribute. We're trying to modify it. I use define init. Here I will write self and name, self dot name person dot population. Here one class method define how many there are. CLS dot this is the class method I use to decorate the how many. So what happened? We are accessing the population. We are accessing the population, and I mentioned the pupil. Done. So let's create the. So I create the. Yeah, it is showing error. So this is a population is a class attribute, and I created a init constructor in which I have a name as a argument, and I access the class attribute using a class name person dot population. I am incrementing by one, and this how many is a function that is decorated by the class method. In this function, I pass the CLS. CLS here is a to access the population. This is a class attribute. This is similar like that. This is the same, but it count. So let's create person. Let's I create a person alias, and here P2 like John. Here okay. Here I am printing person dot how many. It means what happened first I run, you will get a 2% here. What is happening here? When I create a person one, person two, it means initially the value of a population is zero. When you create a instance, it means we created an instance P1 from a person as a class that increment by one. It means it increasing the one. Then create the second object or instance of a class, then again incrementing. Then I call person dot cls dot population. I call this, then you get the two. It means we are we are trying to modifying or accessing the class attributes by using a class method. Okay. So in whenever you decorating the original function using class method, you have to use the CLS as a first argument, first parameter. Okay, let's move to the property decorator. It is very useful decorator. Property. As we know, I discussed property decorator. It allow us to accessing the method as an attribute. So let's write a simple function, simple class like circle. Here I am defining init self radius self dot radius equal radius and define diameter self return self dot radius 2. Let's I'm not using here property as a decorator. I'm just show you see circle and printing the c dot diameter. So diameter is a method init constructor. It takes a radius argument. We have to pass the argument as well. Radius is 5. So what happen? I create the instance of this class. I write the spelling wrong circle. Okay, so I can see the instance of the circle class and I pass the radius 5. So what happen? It get the cell dot underscore radius equal to 5 and diameter is a method. It try to calculating the diameter by using a radius. It multiply by 2. It means it become a double. So I have to access this method. So what I have to do? I have to use the parenthesis and then I will get the output 10. Okay. If I don't mention the parenthesis, it means it is an attribute, but diameter is attribute is a method, so it will give you the error. Yeah. Okay. So it's showing the some location in the memory. So I want to access the diameter. I want to create a method, but I want to access the method as an attribute. For that, I have to mention here property decorator to get this type of quality. So if I write that and you will see 10. Okay. So that is the common use. If I run this, it is giving error because property decorator converting the method as a attributes. Okay, I again run that. So I discussed three types of built-in decorator that is used frequently in static method. We are trying to we don't use any self or CLS as a first argument. We just creating a class and accessing like original function as a function. It means we club the function within the class. Okay, we organize the normal function in a class. In class method, we use the CLS as first argument and try to modifying accessing the class attributes, not a instance. This is the instance attributes, but we are trying to modifying the class attributes. Okay, so we are trying to modifying the class level attributes. And in a property decorator, what happened? We are trying to changing the nature of a method to become a attributes. That is the things we are trying to do it. I hope you understand this lecture and you enjoy this lecture. Thank you so much, everyone. See you in next lecture.